Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Nikita Antoine and today is going to be a reading for Scorpio. I'm going to be doing your reading with my quadruple stack. I'm getting a little crazy with combining all the decks, but this is Threads of Fate, the Weaver Tarot, and their Oracle, both the Lumen and the Shadow edition. So we'll have all aspects of the shadow and light in your reading. So I'm getting a little tripped up on some words. Like I've had to restart the video multiple times, and I keep getting tripped up on the word oracle when I'm introducing the deck. So there's something about that word, or the I'm actually going to say like the implications of that word. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but there's kind of like a tripping point that's happening with something that has to do like with the vocalization of some type of message, because at the bottom of the deck we have the Eight of Wands. And this card with the Eight of Wands talks about a message that is being blasted out. And then underneath this card, we have the Ace of Cups. So with these two energies at the bottom, of the, as the underlining of the reading, it's speaking about some type of message here that wants to be expressed with like a velocity. I was gonna say veracity. I'm not really sure if that's a word or not, but with like an extreme, like one that wants to make an impact. However, the message could be about some type of admiration, or even just like some type of heartfelt feelings that it's just not being expressed, because this Ace of Cups is in the shadow. So it's not able to be vocally expressed. The energetically, it is coming forward with a lot of veracity, but it's almost like whenever the message gets to where it's going, it's barely recognized, or unable to be received. Because even now, as I'm holding both of these cards up, it's almost like that lumen, this is the lumen, the light, the message is really bright, but then this is kind of like shriveling in the background, almost like it wants to be undetected. So some type of message that doesn't necessarily want to be it does, but it doesn't want to be delivered. Okay. I don't know exactly what that is talking about. There is some message in the actual reading that does want to be delivered. It wants to be delivered, like I was saying before, with this fast movement, almost like there is a sense of like time is running out. Okay, but let's just get into the reading. We're starting off your reading today, Scorpio, with, let's just do a little adjust. All right, so we're starting off your reading with your energy. This is the Death card. This card in particular talks about an energetic merger. It talks about two beings that are in alignment with each other, and essentially it's like it's coming together. There is a merger that has happened or did happen. It also speaks of like an entanglement that you have with another being, because there are two snakes here. They're like one in the same. So two beings that either share some type of soul recognition, especially being in the death energy. It's I don't know exactly how to explain that. It's almost like living together and dying together. So that to me talks about like a reincarnation of souls. So perhaps we're speaking of two beings that have continuously, because of their entanglement, they are continuously entwined in each other's lives throughout lifetimes, and that is what is represented in this card here. And it's followed by the pillar. And as you can see in the pillar here, there are, let me get it a little closer to you, but there are two snakes that are on each side of this pillar. And when these cards first came out, of course, I genuinely, I don't know. Generally, I see these snakes as merging together, but when this pillar card came out, there's a storm. I love storms. So if you can hear the thunder and rain, yeah, it's definitely adding to the ambiance. That's a side note, but so when the pillar came out, it's coming across as there is something that is separating this entanglement. They are being separated by whatever energy is happening in the center. And I want to say, especially since we did just have the lunar eclipse in Scorpio, that energy is what is causing this separation of the entanglement. And because a lot of people in the spirituality world see these eclipses as like eclipse tunnels, and this is talking about that eclipse tunnel opening up, and then of course being able to proceed through it. But in that opening of the eclipse tunnel, see, I think you could actually, if you look in the background of the pillar, you can see there is like a moon back here, but it's that opening that is causing the separation of these two, I was gonna say soulmates, but entangled soulmates. I feel like that's what this is talking about here. There is also, but there is a sense that even though there is a separation, there is some type of connection here that is at least energetically, or perhaps even in the astral, because this can also be seen as a veil, that connection is trying to be reestablished. And it's almost like, oh, okay. Oh. It's as if like before these two were along the same path, and now with that separation, it's like instead of being along this, instead of walking side by side, they're now walking towards each other. That connection is trying to be reestablished through this space, and we're following it up with. Hang on, I want to go back to this because it's almost, it's also speaking of like, because these snakes are anchored to these pillars, it's like no matter how far they try to reach to get that connection restored, it's not quite making that connection. And that can be what we're talking about with that message that's not quite being delivered, or when it is delivered, it's not quite being received. And we're having the Seeker of Wands that comes next, and this is talking about that message, right? One or both of the beings of the snakes, I'm just going to call them the snakes. If you are, identify as this, I think it's you actually, Scorpio. I feel like you, Scorpio, have this message that is wanting to be delivered. Especially with it being in the Wands energy, it's like you're wanting to rush forward and deliver this message, because it's like, because this gap is opening up, it's like, it's very interesting. It's like the gap, it's almost as if the door is closing, but it's actually opening. Doesn't, how do I explain this? It's like you're probably perceiving that the door to this is closing, because it's like you're rushing forward to try to beat, it's like trying to beat time, trying to beat the clock, or racing the clock, like going in as fast as you can because you perceive that the door is being closed, when in actuality perhaps you're perceiving that the door is being closed because of that separation that is being caused by the eclipse. But what is really happening is it's almost like one door is being closed, but another is being opened. So there is this gusto, this force that is being projected forward in wanting to deliver this message. And the message we're talking about, especially with that Ace of Cups that was in the shadow at the bottom of the deck, we could be talking about a love message that is wanting to be delivered, or a message of admiration or appreciation, some type of heartfelt, the thunder, some type of heartfelt message wanting to be received or wanting to be sent out. So the Seeker of Wands has all the tools, right? They have their wand, they have the paper, they have the envelope, they even have with this, it's the Speak Truth card. Hopefully you guys, I think the Speak Truth. This is I want to get it to where it's because I'm trying not to use as much light as I can because I like to keep it a little low tech, but that's interesting. that I'm talking about low tech, because we're also speaking of paper and pen. This looks like a, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it looks like a fountain pen. You see the tip there? Looks to me like a fountain pen. So it's like wanting to deliver a message in an old-fashioned way. So this could even be like actually writing a letter and mailing it, because this is like a courier, you know what I mean, like a mail service type of thing. So there's something in this speak truth that it's like when the message is being delivered or wanting to be, I guess, either written out, there is a stopping point. There's some type of like, it's what I was talking about at the very beginning of the reading, where I was speaking of, there's a tripping point or something like that. I was talking about oracles, so something that wanted to be expressed. There's some type of tripping point that is happening in the expression, because this Speak Truth card is, I hope that you guys can see it, but my lighting is not very good. There you go, you can kind of see it along the edges, but there's like a barbed wire that is wrapped around this pin, and it's like it's almost as if the pin won't even open, like it won't even write, like the ink won't take to the paper. And that is the tripping point. The tripping point is perhaps not knowing what to say, knowing that you want to deliver a message of love and perhaps of a acknowledgement of this connection, this merger type of energy, this entanglement, this knowledge of, because the snake also represents knowledge of the incredible complexity of the time that has been spent together. And that can be in one lifetime, of course. It could also be in multiple lifetimes as well. And it's like that, it's like not understanding how to communicate that in a way that's going to be delivered, like in a way that it's going to be understood, essentially. And then we're starting off your second row with the ruler of coins. And this Scorpio, I think this might be the person that you are trying to deliver this message to. I'm seeing this moon up at the top, which is signifying again that lunar energy. And then what was really coming forward was at the base of this eye here, there's a tear. It's a crystal tear. And it's falling below the snake energy, which is feeling like, it's almost as if you can feel the sorrow or the it's coming across as like the sadness or because this ruler of coins it's feeling very like it's feeling very painful, actually. It's feeling like in pain, like the heart is in pain, very sorrowful, very like crying actually. And there's this laurel up here that is coming across too, along with, so okay, hang on, let me pause for a second, because I feel like this is the person that you're wanting to deliver the message. It's like you can feel, because you have been connected throughout multiple lifetimes. It's like you can feel the sorrow that they feel in your separation. So it's like, even though you are physically, because we're talking about coins here, even though you are physically separated, it's like emotionally you can still feel what they are feeling. And we have the Six of Wands that is following the ruler of coins. And what I'm noticing here is that the ruler of coins has this part of the laurel wreath, and then the Six of Wands, which is the shadow, it's in the shadow. So it's talking about a success point that is either not yet met, or it's like they are unaware of this Six of Wands energy, right? It's going back to here. It's going back to that message that's wanting to be delivered, but it's not, the message that is being delivered is not received. So this, they do have some of it. There is some notion that it is there, because it's like, this is a complete, if we were to like put these on top of one another, like this would meet up with the rest of this and create a complete circle, right? So it's like that, this Six of Wands energy, this success point, this victory, the acknowledgement of this Ace of Cups message would be recognized if these were on top of one another. Do you see what I'm saying here? And there's that disconnect. It's talking about this reaching and stretching for one another, but not quite yet meeting each other. And it feels as though it does feel like a part of this is I don't know how else to say this, but like kind of out of your hands type of thing. Yeah, because it's like, even these hands here, this victory point, the success point of your message of love it's like it's out of your hands. It's like you're having to either trust that the universe is going to put this in your path, or it's just, no matter how much you try, it's not being received in the way that you would want it to be received. And that is coming across too as so next we have the Hierophant, and the Hierophant and the Justice. And what I'm seeing here is, so this is how it's coming out. Let me just pick up all these cards so that you can see exactly what I am speaking of here. Okay, so these two shadow cards, the Hierophant and the Six of Wands, are being bookended by the Ruler of Coins and the Justice. And in the Justice, let's pull this up real quick. this is looking to me like the cosmos is locking something in place. And I'm seeing it as these keys here, and this is also a, now they do balance each other out, but it is because the two things are on each individual side of the scale. It's like when they both even out, it's locked into place. So it's as if these two snakes, when they do separate, it's being locked. Like these keys here are locking this pillar into place. So it's causing this gateway, right, to open up. But it's also, in doing so, it is also causing that separation. And like I'm saying, no matter the effort that is put into delivering a message and hoping that it gets received, it's like the universal law has locked down the pillar so that these two cannot be in communication with each other, is what's coming through. It's very interesting because I'm seeing in this pillar there are two hearts up here. So it's as if both people, or both of the ones that are involved in this entanglement, they both have the same message that they want to deliver to the other, but are unable to. And it goes along with this. It's like if this was to be joined, if this part of the laurel was to be joined with this one, it would create that completion. Because now I'm thinking, of the World card, which has the laurel all around. It's a completion point. See, now that to me says that there is something that is actually incomplete, because this is not being received, it's causing, it is still incomplete. So if we're talking about the lunar eclipse tunnel, the tunnel has to be completed. So that is what I'm seeing here at the end of your reading, Scorpio, is that even though it is being locked in place now, right, we have both of these crescents that are being locked on either side of them. It's followed by the high, what is this? The high sage here. And the high sage, okay, here we go. The high sage is the guardian to the veil. So this is the high sage, or as some call the high priestess. She's the guardian of this veil. She is the one that has split this, has opened the veil, and in doing so has caused the separation of an entanglement. However, there is something that's talking about with time, because we have the lunar cycle that's coming here. And then there's that circle, right? There's that completion. So it's at the completion of this time that the veil will be opened, and in doing so cause that separation. There's something about it's coming back together though. So I suspect at the end of this lunar eclipse tunnel, I don't know exactly what that is. I don't know when the next lunar eclipse is. So you'll have to do your research and find out when that is. I'm going to also do my own research, but it's talking about these, even though in separation, it's like they will be coming back together. There is this swooping back in together that is happening here. And it has to do with, there's going to be we're talking about several moon cycles that are going to be gone through, right? Because both of these snakes are going through this. Because now I'm trying to, because this was talking about walking the path along together, and instead now it's talking about walking towards each other. So it's speaking of like a container, like a container of time, and as they come closer and closer together, right? That's this veil closing. The separation being, what do you call that? You know what I'm talking about. The separation, you know what I'm saying. Like the separation not being there. The gap being closed, essentially. It's coming back together. But there is going to be several moon cycles that are going to have to be moved through in order for this to come back together. And I want to say that when it does come back together, there is going to be, you will be walking the pathway again. It's almost like as if the two had to separate, and it's like that's what it is. Okay. So we're talking about that circle, right? That completion. It's as if they had to separate and then come back together. There's something about this separation. I don't know exactly what that is. I don't know why the separation happens. I think that it's just the time and space that we're moving through right now with that lunar eclipse. I mean, it's in a Scorpio, so it does talk about death. There's something that has to do with like the transformation of each of these beings, right? They both have to reach a point of, with this Hierophant energy and with the Justice, it's talking about reaching a point of pure integral balance that is only found through like it's kind of like the transition between knowledge and wisdom. Like in order to gain wisdom, right, you have to move through scenarios in which you apply your knowledge. And it's talking about that. It's talking about being able to reach this justice point, this balance, and maintain. There's a lot of talk about the maintenance of that balance, especially with it being locked in place. That needs to be had in order for the two to come back and reunite. Yeah. So that's what I have for you, Scorpio. I am just checking real quick to see if there's anything else. There is one last thing that's coming about this, with this speak truth and justice. It's talking about at the close, or something along the lines of at the close. So we're speaking at the close of this portal, that this energy here, this speak truth, will be allowed to be released. Or if it's not released, the message will be heard. It won't be it's not going to be in the shadow anymore. It's gonna be lumen. It's going to be perceived is what's coming through. Okay, well, Scorpio, thank you for watching my reading, and I appreciate you for visiting. Yeah, see you next time. Bye.